Jobkeeper won't return. Let's have a look. Hello everyone, Florian.heise here, and welcome to another episode of HeiseSays. Grab your stein of coffee because we're going to be discussing Scott Morrison's, latest statements about Jobkeeper not returning, everyone. But before we get into that, let's have a look at how the government has, came to the rescue last year, and to a big extent this year as well. If we jump here, we can see we had our first recession in 28 years. I just need to remind you all of this pretty much every video because we seem to have forgotten it. People seem to think everything is just going fine. But the reason it's all going fine, the reason it's all bounced back is because a little thing, the government has piled a huge amount of stimulus into the economy. The Liberal government has just blown, Rudd's stimulus completely out of the water. Any potential argument against such huge monetary intervention or any stimulus in the economy, I think it's out the window now. How can they even argue anymore? So this politics moving forward is going to certainly be very interesting here in Australia. And we've had two things that have been doing it. You've got the home builder scheme, and we've also got Jobkeeper, where hundreds of thousands of employees were being supported and maintained in their job. Nearly 9% in Victoria at one stage of the employed people. Now, you've got to understand some businesses needed that, some businesses didn't need it, but you can't hold it against someone for taking the free money the government's handing out, because otherwise their competitor is going to get an advantage. And it didn't cover all the costs of employees. I suspect this was mainly done to mitigate the impact on Centrelink. Honestly, I think this is, once again, the government is using small business to step up and help fill the role of all these government services, and not paying us for it either. Anyway, so let's have a look, because there are calls for Jobkeeper to return, everyone, and that's kind of getting a bit worrying. I know some people will want to advocate for a UBI. You've got to understand, Centrelink is not income protection insurance. It is there to keep you out of being destitute. If you have your own savings, if you've been sensible, you're going to get screwed over by them. Okay? That's just how it is. You just got to realize it's not for you. It's not for the people who've planned. It's not for the people that are doing well and have lost their job. It's for the people that haven't got enough of a buffer, haven't been able to save up enough, have fallen on really hard times. And it's to keep them from having to resort to begging on the streets or to resort to crime. That's what it's there for. I think a lot of people need to change their framing a bit. The government isn't your insurance provider, everyone. That's not what they're there for. And UBI, I can't see happening in Australia. It's happened overseas, and I've done videos looking at the outcome of UBI over in I think Sweden did it, and it reduced the stress of the people looking for work. So these were people who were on unemployment. They could get a UBI guaranteed. It didn't really help them find work, but it just reduced their stress. So I can see the advantage of that. But you know what had happened, guys, if we had UBI, if Jobkeeper evolved into a UBI, every special interest group would want their own special flavor of UBI. There'd be remote UBI. There'd be bald man UBI. There'd be pregnant women UBI. There'd be single parent UBI. You can see. And what about all the hundreds of thousands of civil servants that are working in, that get their I'll just bring up this other chart here that I want to show you. Where is it? Oh, this one here. This is, wage price growth. But this one here is showing you the civil servants, the public versus private sector. Notice which one's higher. What about all those civil servants that are working for Centrelink? I would advocate for UBI just because I'd love to see if it'd be possible for every single Centrelink employee to be fired and replaced and put on UBI instantly. Can you see that happening, guys? Can you see it happening? So let's have a look at this. Jobkeeper isn't coming back, the PM declares. So, Prime Minister Scott Morrison has shot down calls to reinstate the wage subsidy program Jobkeeper, even as half the country has entered into lockdown in a bid to contain the latest Delta COVID-19 outbreaks. Now, here's the thing. There's a lot of people that are going to be scared and worried. There's a lot of stuff in the media that's just exacerbating the news with the Delta. But the latest information I've seen coming out of the UK is that the hospitalization rate is significantly lower than previous previous versions of the illness. So that's fantastic news, everyone. Isn't that what traditionally happens with a virus? It becomes more transmissible, more people can catch it, but it becomes less fatal. So, in a press conference on Wednesday afternoon, Morrison defended the $600 and $375 lockdown payments and indicated there will be no new financial or economic support from the federal government announced today. These payments are the same level of payment that was being provided in the December quarter in Jobkeeper. Exactly the same, he said. The only difference is they're being paid by the government direct and not through your employer. There you go. That means you're not getting the super and all the other bonuses that you would have gotten, or the other entitlements that the employers were still accruing. And the design of these payments is designed to support the lockdowns in encouraging people to be able to stay at home as a result of the lockdowns, he said. So, the Prime Minister said today's lockdown situation was very different to what Australia confronted in March and April last year when Jobkeeper was introduced. There was a national scheme that went across all businesses in Australia, and it was designed with the prospect of having Australia in that situation for at least 6 months, which indeed it was in. It needed the scale of that type of initiative to deliver that, Morrison said. We need to be able to turn this on and off quickly. And with the method we've chosen, we're able to do just that. So this is the thing. You're gonna have people advocating for Jobkeeper because they want it to merge and evolve into UBI. That's what we're going to see here. Can you imagine a UBI nation, guys, as Australia? When asked whether he would absolutely rule out the return of Jobkeeper, Morrison said, "I'm not trying to solve last year's problem. That's what Jobkeeper solved. When the Jobkeeper program was introduced, it took 4 to 6 weeks for the money to hit the workers' wallets," he said. "I don't have 6 weeks. I need to make sure that we've got $200 million out the door now," which is exactly what we've done. "We will continue to tailor our responses to economic supports to meet the challenges that we have now. States and territories have also stepped up and introduced their own economic support schemes to stem the economic damage introduced by the latest Delta variant lockdowns. Unlike this time last year," Morrison said. "It's basically Jobkeeper by another distribution method, and what matters is that people are getting economic support. It's timely and proportionate and targeted, and there when it's needed, and that's what's coming there. The government is seeing around 70,000 claims per day and has paid out $32 million in financial support in the last 24 hours. In some instances, payments are being made just 40 minutes after the claims are put through," Morrison said. So, he's got a point there. He has 100% got a point. That Jobkeeper is not going to get the money that quick. It's going to be done with the employer's payment method. It could be a month into the future. Yeah. So I can appreciate why they're delivering it at this method. I'm just worried that there are going to be more and more calls for it. And there's even criticism that it isn't put in place. So what's the solution to all of this? We need to remember one very important thing, everyone. None of this is free. We're all going to have to pay for it one way or another. What do you think? Do you think people will remember? Do you think people will care? Do you think this is going to increase people's dependency on the government and shift their politics? Well, we'll have to see. As always, thank you all for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. If you're a fan and enjoy the content I create here, there are a few ways you can support us. You can join us on YouTube or Patreon, sign up for SelfWealth or Stake, use our affiliate links at Amazon, eBay, Independent Reserve, or AussieBroadband, buy a merch from HeiseSays, use Gold Pass from the Perth Mint, or support us via PayPal. Take care, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye for now.